Hello parents, and welcome to the final part of our 5-part series on Montessori human tendencies. My name is Nkem Sinachi Agu and I'm the founder of the Montessori Home Education Academy. I'm also a certified Montessori educator. All right, so we'll dive right in. Now for the final part, we have activity and we also have self-perfection. Now activity, you can connect it to movement. It is something that is super key for children and also for adults. Now I'll go into children. When I was reading a homeschool magazine called Homeschool Today, so the series February to April 2026, I actually discovered an extra reason why you need to let your children move and encourage movement for your child, for your children, whether they are learning, whatever it is that they are doing, and even for yourself. Now it was discovered by researchers that there is this protein called BDNF, which is brain-derived neurotrophic factor, that is actually referred to as fertilizer for the brain, and it is developed and enhanced each time a person moves, each time a child moves, So, of course, it's said, the intensity of the activity matters and so on. And children, you can be sure you can count on their intensity. They're ready to jump, fly if they can, so that intensity is already extensive with them. So just being aware of that, even for babies, again, I was seeing a video talking about how we should try to limit the time spent in containers. You'll be surprised that even your newborn, can have floor time. It mustn't even be tummy time. There's a lot of emphasis, tummy time, tummy time. If they are resisting tummy time, it doesn't have to be for so long. Just even being on their back on the mat is still better than trying to put them in a swing, in a bouncer. Let them stretch their hands freely, stretch their legs freely, practice whatever it is they want to practice, even from an early age. As long as it's clean and it's safe and you're there to supervise, it is very helpful for them. Any movement they do. Now imagine that you just by moving, you're adding like fertilizer to your child's brain. It's helping them to grow. So it's not just what you're teaching them. It's not just about ABCs or numbers. Movement is such a key factor in the first year of life, in the first 5, first 6. In fact, the sensitive period for movement is 0 to 6 years, but 0 to 1 is so critical, right? So if you have a baby, let them move. They can move on your body as long as they are not constrained. Tummy time, I also tell people, after breastfeeding and the child is just resting on your back, your tummy or your chest, try to stand upright so they don't throw up. That is tummy time because they are not restrained. That is, in fact, that is one of the first places I even saw my son trying to lift his head and all that. So it doesn't have to be on the floor, right? But of course the floor is still nice because you have a firm surface and you don't even have to carry them all the time. And then for older children, there's this complaint, oh, they're moving too much, they're jumping around. Want to contain them. Let them learn how to sit. They will learn how to sit. Let them move. In fact, is what we should be pushing, because each time they move, again, the same article I was reading was even talking about how whenever children stop moving, their brain actually starts slowing down. I'll see if I can put a link to the article or the magazine in the video description. It was such an interesting read about why we should let our children move, because each time they move, it helps their brain develop. It even helps them with those cognitive functions that we seem to be so much more concerned about, the maths, the science, and all that. If they are not moving, their brain is literally slowing down. Okay, so movement activity is so key. It's a human tendency, not just for children, for adults as well. So anytime you start feeling dull and slow, it's time to get up. I think I was also reading Essentialism and by Greg McKeown, and he was mentioning how a lot of times we are not tired because of too much movement. We are tired because of lack of movement. So it goes from childhood to adulthood. Children even more important, because we know that their brain is being developed 80%, 90% before they even turn 3, before they turn 5. I know the figures kind of go all over the place, but really brain development happens so much in those early years that if movement is anything that can contribute to it, you want to make sure they are having plenty of it. And then the last one is self-perfection. It's similar to what we discussed last week. They like to do things right. They like to do things well. So we need to be kind, with our corrections and focus more on teaching them. If you see something they're not doing well, there's no point correcting. You plan a lesson for it and you teach them. Okay, so I think that's the main thing for this final part of the 5-part series. If you want to find out more about the Montessori Home Education program, check out our website, check out our links for any of our upcoming programs that you want to join. And don't miss joining our free WhatsApp community where you can stay updated. The link is also in the video description. Okay, make sure to follow, like, and subscribe. And thank you for being here, everyone. Have a wonderful week ahead. Bye-bye.